Hi there, it's Mr. Newberger. You're watching Mr. Newberger's Week in Review. This is a second installment of a new feature we're doing on Mr. Newberger's AI Funnies, where I, Mr. Newberger, talk directly to you, the audience, about the last 7 days of videos. I know the elephant in the room is that we are celebrating a milestone. The 100,000 subscriber number has been reached, and we'll get to that a little later. First, let's start with Sunday, because I think that's where this week began. On Sunday, Mr. Newberger dropped a music video called Releasing the Files. And man, that went viral. Wow. When things go viral, I'm paying attention because all of a sudden people are emailing me directly and saying, hey, do you mind looking at this song I wrote? Or do you mind raising my child? Or any manner of requests. So I know that a larger audience is looking. And that's what happened with Releasing the Files. So what was it? It was in response to Donald Trump's weird insistence with his DOJ that there are no Epstein files after Pam Bondi having them on her desk and them using it to sort of rile up their MAGA base that once he was elected, there'd be hells to pay. But none of that happened. And the story had changed like 1,000 times, which is like a typical Donald Trump narrative. It just kind of goes like this, and then around, and then another hand comes in and does this. It's never from point A to Z with an honest line of facts. So the fact pattern is like, bah! So anyway, Releasing the Files was a fun one. I was not home when I made it. I actually was visiting my sister Debbie and her husband Adam's apartment in Long Beach. So I was sitting around in Long Beach, I think it was on a Sunday morning, and my brother-in-law Adam wanted me and he to go for a walk into town to get bagels. That's what old Jewish guys do. And I kept delaying him because I was busy. I was like, I got up nice and squirrely like I usually do, and he came out around 7:30. I was still working on it. And this is like a behind the scenes, by the way. That's this whole video is a behind the scenes. If you don't care about this, stop watching. But I was sitting there, tap, 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 trying to get a 1930s musical, golden age musical vibe going, with tap dancing and, fellas at the newsstand reading their newspapers. Oh, and I should mention that I know the newspaper says revalid. It says Epstein Files revalid. Listen, AI is not a perfect science yet, and text trips it up like a mother effer. So sometimes I have to make a Sophie's choice in the edit room to decide if I like this kind of 10-second long moving shot that, has the guys at the newsstand in the greatest position, and everything looks great, but for the AI sloppy text F up, or I want to redo it with a new prompt. And the fun thing about Newberger's AI Funnies is that you're going to find relieved instead of revealed. It's those little imperfections that are kind of fun Easter eggs. And I enjoy the people who sort of get it and laugh at it. And then I sort of like see all the comments like, hey, you misspelled blah, 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 where you have no spell check. It's like, yeah, this is AI, brother. There ain't no spell check in AI. Not yet. It will be less funny in like a year when they fix all that. But for now, I think it's funny this way. There was a lot of specific prompting that went on to capture the gestalt of that 1930s piece. But my software that I use, Halu, by the way, nice little plug. Everyone always asks me, well, what are you using? I use Halu AI. It was nailing it prompt after prompt. I don't know why, but the look and feel of that one is really dynamic. And the song was real catchy. Listen, I write a lot of songs, and I could tell when I create them with Suno, which is the software I use for song making, when I got a banger on my hands. And that one was just like real, like toe tapping, jazzy, taking you from verse to verse. It was just like there was no chance that wasn't going to be a hit. So I really wanted to artistically bring it in terms of marrying that song with visuals that kind of popped. And just seeing Trump scowling and strolling around, with every variation of his Epstein Files, lie. it just kind of worked. So that was releasing the files, and that one is still popping. It's like over 1 million views at this point. It's only, under a week. I mean, we're like 5 days. So who knows where that one will go? Will it beat Taco Taco Taco, my previous hit? We'll have to see. So that was Sunday. And then on Monday, I returned with the bronze ear, which was, I tend to do these kind of throwback dollar holler commercials. It's sort of like reminds me of a commercial you'd see on like USA Network at like 2 in the morning. And the reason that I attribute that to Donald Trump is he's so cheesy and scummy that like whatever he's selling would be in a commercial at 2 in the morning, in between like Gilbert Gottfried showing you old horror movies or some infomercial of an exercise tape. His commercial would pop on. So what is he selling? Well, because I was so focused on releasing the Epstein files on Sunday, I missed the 1-year anniversary of the attempt on his life in Pennsylvania, which there was a barrage of tweets on Twitter or X kind of pushing this like, our leader, he survived, he died, he almost died for your sins kind of thing. And they were pushing it so hard, it felt like they were trying to shift the discussion from Epstein, which clearly didn't work, right? So I thought it'd be fun if we did a commercial for, like a Franklin Mint style bronze ear that they send you in memory of his surviving the assassination attempt. So that's what I did. And, you'll see I've done several videos of that kind of ilk, like whether it's like a Trump coin or his ear. Think like Trumpy Bear. Remember when he was selling the Verstunkene teddy bear? Same kind of difference. By the way, I do all the sort of extra voices you hear, whether it's like some MAGA couple or a redneck dude or whoever. I will speed up my voice or slow it down or put on a funny accent. That wasn't very funny, but that was an example of me not doing my voice. And that's how we do these stock characters. Mr. Newberger is your VO talent. So then Tuesday was The Grifters, episode 15. We're getting up there with The Grifters. Another 20 episodes, we'll have like a K-drama season. So I love doing The Grifters. It is a real chance for me to just spit out direct from the headlines things that are happening, and I get to work with my wife Michelle, and I know she'll pretend like she doesn't care, but she loves doing it. I know, she's like on her way to tennis in the morning, and I like call her in here and I emailed her like 3 dopey lines, and then she sits here like passive aggressively like standing over me with this little microphone, and like she loves it. And then I give her some notes, she reads it again, and then it's usually 1 or 2 takes. She's like a 1 or 2 take magician. So this week's episode of The Grifters, we start in the the World Cup group playoffs, where Donald Trump got so excited he hopped on stage, wouldn't get out of the picture, stole the trophy. So there was a lot of fertile ground to work with. And then, this is Epstein week, like Shark Week, but this is Epstein week. So there was like a House GOP hearing to vote on whether or not they should vote on the Epstein files, and the GOP blocked it. So I had Donald Trump come in, without his pants, interrupt Virginia Fox's, hearing where they were all going to just vote in his favor anyway, to make sure that nobody's talking about Epstein. But meanwhile, we're all talking about Epstein. So yes, he interrupts that hearing. And then lastly, J.D. Vance pays a visit. And this was like really like happening like minutes before I posted this. But the initial inflation report was that inflation was up. So there's a misunderstanding of sitcom proportions between J.D. Vance about what's up. A chance for me to make my recurring couch jokes at J.D. Vance's expense. Nothing funnier to me. So The Grifters is, they'll be back every week. I have kind of found myself now with quite a few running sitcoms. We've got The Grifters. We have Sweet Lindsay about Lindsey Graham, which is kind of like a Designing Women Golden Girls kind of show. And then I introduced a new show this week called MAGA Cat, which of course was our Wednesday show. MAGA Cat stars my Tuxedo Cat Cannoli with a few AI enhancements. And in the same way AI misspells everything, it's like a real, load of trouble getting AI to like maintain his markings. Sometimes his white is on his nose, sometimes it's under his chin. So you'll see him change from like 5 different cats. But at the heart of it is my cat, Cannoli, who's a sweetheart, a little diva, a fluffy, lovable mush, not anywhere near the part he's playing, which is MAGA Cat, who's got kind of this nasty Long Island high-pitched nasally voice that he uses to hurl racial epithets and espouses xenophobia and like the core tenets of MAGA beliefs about foreigners and this and that and the other thing. I really like this new project. I could see doing a few of them. I do include some actual video of me. I'm one of the stars of the show with Cannoli. Like one time he came in my office and puked and then just left. So I included that as a scene. I have quite a few of those sitting around, so I could see doing a bunch more. But the funniest part to me is he's kind of rolling through the neighborhood screaming at people to stop talking about the Epstein files. That's kind of how, like, if you were to go on Twitter or X rather for the day or two this week, you would see that same sentiment. Can we stop talking about the Epstein files? It's because Trump said stop talking, so his people parrot and anyway, MAGA Cat is a new addition to my slate of sitcoms. I'm thinking I might have to have like an upfront event for all my shows, because there's at least 4 new shows, and I keep finding myself like pulled into that sweet spot of the 80s. It's just fun to kind of mimic that era, and Donald Trump, who's kind of the focus of my satire, is it's like an 80s guy that's just been farted out into like present day with all of the cheesiness of the 80s surrounding him. So that's the little behind the scenes of my method to my mad. Yesterday was, all about the subs. I think I hit 100,000 subscribers last night at like 2 in the morning. So I created this dancey video featuring myself, my wife, my cat, Donald Trump, and a little brief cameo by Sean Connery to celebrate hitting 100,000 subscribers. I am really grateful that anyone watches anything I do here, and it's just kind of like a novelty, but I know my family at first were kind of sick of hearing me saying, oh look, I'm at 30,000 subscribers, oh look, I'm at 40,000 subscribers, but then they came around and they bought me a cake. So last night we had a Carvel ice cream cake, which I shouldn't eat because I'm diabetic, but it was tasty all the same, and we celebrated as a family. 100,000 subscribers is no small thing. I think the next milestone's 1 million. That's going to take 100 years, but if it happens sooner, hooray. And the video that I put up is me dancing around at some red carpet event celebrating 100,000 subs. And then, today, not to be kind of left out of the creative fray, I wanted to bring some visual embodiment to this Epstein letter that the Wall Street Journal reported on, that had Donald Trump, typewritten letter amongst a body image he sketched that he claims he doesn't draw of like a naked woman. And I kind of was thinking it would be fun to visualize the letter as if it was like a film scene, and it kind of came out in this kind of American Psycho Breakfast at Tiffany's hybrid, where him and Epstein are at the birthday party and there's bikini girls all over, and I stuck very closely to just the verbate of the letter. I think I had one ad-lib scene, but most of it is just what he actually wrote, because people kept saying, oh, that's not Trump's voice, but when you hear him say these things, I don't know, you can hear him say it. Sounds like his voice. There's 100% no doubt in my mind that is the letter he sent Jeffrey Epstein for his book at this 50th birthday party, which would have been in 2003, 3 years before Epstein would be arrested. So the fact that this guy, the President of the United States, was dealing with this awful, serial sex abuser just a few years before he was caught, and might be implicit, and that there's such a cover-up. I don't think Epstein Week is going to be 1 week. I think it's going to be like Infrastructure Week, where it's like just keeps going and going and going. Hopefully someone gets punished for Epstein. I don't care what party you're in, but if you're diddling kids, that's a no-no. And if Trump did that, I hope he's brought to justice. And people who surround him and I don't believe this or I believe this, it's like, don't base your beliefs on what he says. Base it on what facts are presented and what's proven, like we used to do in the old days, pre-Trump. Anyway, Mr. Newberger has had an eventful week. I'm quite exhausted. I will not take time off, though. I will be back with some new funnies tomorrow, this weekend. Have yourself a great weekend. Thank you so much for bringing me to this threshold. 100,000 subscribers is wonderful. Wonderful news from Mr. Newberger's AI Funnies. Coming soon, I have another channel, by the way. It's called Generation Exile, where my two best friends from high school, Michael Romanelli and Dave Eagle, and I, we do talkie talk segments, play games, and we should be having some new segments coming soon to you that were really fun to record. They're just in post-production right now. So there's that. And then also look out for the Who Me line of clothing that's coming. Yes, Who Me? We'll have a t-shirt for sale on this site. My friend Dave's t-shirt shop is going to produce it and create it, and it looks great already. There'll be a commercial for it. So exciting things are coming here on Mr. Newberger's AI Funnies channel. I hope you're here for the long haul. I hope you'll spread the word, and I hope you're having a great day in this Trumpocalypse that we're in. We'll get through it together. God bless you.
Really hate that sad loser, Mr. Newberger.
Who, me?